Beale Street, Memphis. Ah. Elvis week is over. And all the fans have left, and I'm standing in Elvis Presley Plaza. This is on Beale Street and Main. With the fans went all the Elvis impersonators. And I've been thinking about the Elvis impersonators lately. Kind of representative and of the past 2 or 3 years that I've been homeless and on the street. Because as I walked around Elvis week and saw all the Elvis impersonators and guys dressing up like Elvis and, wanting to be Elvis and admiring Elvis, I couldn't help but think of some of the impersonators I have met while I've been on the street. Just to name a few comes to mind very quickly. Socrates. I've met a number of Socrates, guys that look like Socrates. Usually this homeless guy happens to be, about middle age, about my age, about 50 years old or so. And he tends to hang around college campuses. You'll see him at universities, you'll see him, college campuses, things like that. Socrates, very popular. In 3 years, I've seen him all the time, every city that I've been in. Notorious. And, around college campuses, any time of the year. Also, very popular is Santa Claus. Now, Santa Claus is he can be anywhere. Usually, he's at the homeless shelters around Christmas time or around the first of the year, somewhere like that. It's a classic. Okay, middle-aged guy, probably a little bit older, full white beard and a big old full head of white hair. He's very popular. That's the Santa Claus impersonator. Let's see, what else do we have? Those two come to mind immediately. Also, I've noticed, as far as impersonators are concerned, King Tut has recently become very popular with the men, homeless men around the shelters and around the city and stuff. Also a homeless man. And I guess in keeping with the, I don't know, maybe Batman theme is what I think of, or the wealth of that such white men have being homeless and about 50, 60 years old. You'll find a King Tut kind of figure. Now, I don't know what kind of King Tut. I'm thinking Batman kind of King Tut, and so are a lot of these guys that I'm seeing year after year, somewhere in some city, usually around the men's shelter. White guy playing the role of King Tut. Those three kind of impersonators come to mind when I think of homeless men in the city. I once lived in Pasadena, And I knew a guy. The first time I saw him, I was walking down Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena. I was homeless, and he was walking down. And as he approached me, as he got closer and closer, mind you, I'm homeless in Pasadena, California, which is about maybe 40 minutes by bus outside of Hollywood. I see walking down the street Richard Gere. I mean, this guy looked just like Richard Gere, and I came so close to going up to him and saying, "Hey, you're Richard Gere, are you not?" But I didn't. I let him go by, but I'm there. Wow, I just saw Richard Gere here in Pasadena. Well, I think it was later that day. It was probably lunchtime. Yeah, come to think of it, it was probably lunchtime. When I went to the Union Station, the one feeding place in Pasadena, where the homeless men and women actually could go and get a free meal. And what do you know? Standing in line is Richard Gere. Um, Time went on, days passed. Me and Richard Gere finally met. And I joked to him about, how he looked like Richard Gere, and he said, "Oh, what? No one ever tells me that." Very very nice guy. Um, so I asked him one day. I said, we exchanged stories about why we were homeless and how we got where we were at and stuff like that. And I told him my tale, and then he told me his tale, and it was quite the story for Hollywood. It seems his dad was a military man and very strict, kind of a Great Santini. If you've ever seen that movie, the very strict father, with the son wanting to please, from the Pat Conroy novel. Anyways, his dad was a military man, and he was fine as a father until he retired. And then I guess the boredom overtook him, and he turned to drinking. And when he turned to drinking, he was an angry drunk. So when he turned to drinking, his behavior changed, and you know, he became very angry, and that's why Richard Gere, left the house, because he couldn't stand to be around his father anymore, and he was tired of protecting his mother and his sister. Now, being homeless, I took this maybe as a story, because homeless men don't have a knack for trusting one another. So I said, give me an example of something your father did to you or your sister or your mother, because I was looking for authenticity. I was looking for genuineness, and I'm sure I felt his story would either ring true or ring hollow. And he said, "Well, I'll give you an example. One day we're sitting eating dinner, and my sister said something, and I don't even remember what it was, but she was to the left of my father, who stood up and punched her." I said, "Slap?" He said, "No." He punched like 17-year-old, 18-year-old sister. And the teeth in her mouth flew out and hit the wall of the dining room, along with the blood. I said, "Oh, well, that's in my mind authentic." And I said, oh, now I know a little bit more about Richard Gere.